You surely once had the moment where you looked up the Mario Galaxy 1 speedrunning leaderboards to see if anything changed since your last time looking at it, or on which place your run is standing compared to the others. And while you were there scrolling through it, you notice that you can click on this word, and out of your inexperience, you ask yourself what would happen if you are clicking on it. After a few seconds, you are doing it, and the site gives you multiple choices of what looks like many different leaderboards. But one thing catches your eye. Category extensions? What the hell does that? Instantly, you are redirected to a new site of leaderboards, which looks in the first moment a bit like the known Galaxy 1 leaderboards. After a few moments you realize that you probably just tapped into maybe one of the biggest, mostly unknown rabbit holes the Super Mario speedrunning business has to offer, the category extensions of SMG1 and 2. And then you see, surrounded by a lot of other unusual speedrun categories, one particular extension that seems to get the most runs on the leaderboard and therefore has to have some kind of cool informations or even some good story behind it. Well, that's going to be my job today. Lean yourself back and join me on the wild ride that is the unknown history of Super Mario Galaxy Enter All Domes. First of all, what is this Enter All Domes all about? Well, the name is Program. The speedrun category extension of Enter All Domes, or short EAD, is a brief run where you have to go into every of the 6 existing domes in Super Mario Galaxy 1 in a row. This means that when you get into one dome, you have to leave it immediately after entering, so you can get as fast as possible to the next one. The little house in which is the Gateway Galaxy does not count as a dome. The timer starts when you press in the menu the Play this file button and ends on the same frame as the vignette is fully played out and leaving a full-on black screen. Probably you asking yourself now, how are you going to do that? What is the optimal route you can get out of something like this? Don't worry. These and other questions you might have right now are going to be answered in this video. And with that, let's get this party started with the beginning of it all. I started my research on this topic and unfortunately I couldn't figure out on which date exactly the Enter All Domes category was submitted to the extensions, but I know that the first ever submitted speedrun of it was on the 13th of December back in 2019. So I guess that this was also the year in which it got published. If you don't know who ran the first EAD World Record speedrun, you wouldn't believe it. It's almost ironic that the beginning of it all was made by one of the all-time greats and most well-known speedrunner of Mario Galaxy, the one and only Mr. Cloud Kirby. With a time of 1 minute 29.69 seconds with Luigi, performed Cloud Kirby also his first run, and as you can expect from him, CK already tried to get the best out of this category. He made some strats that will become fundamental for the further course of Enter All Domes, like the first section to the Tarrace dome, which consists exclusively out of long jumps, the timed triple jump to the fountain, where the last of the 3 jumps is interrupted by a spin to be a few frames faster on the platform, the jump from the floating platform to the overlook cycle right before the bedroom dome, which looks a bit harder to pull off, the red star power-up, which is used to run from the ceiling of bedroom to the highest point of the observatory, the garden dome. And hold on, let me explain this. This right here, the so-called fast fly, is a special move used in speedruns of Super Mario Galaxy 1, where you press A on the Wiimote to stop either Mario or Luigi completely in the air for a few frames. Then release the A button and continue to spam it, but in a specific rhythm. For the Switch controller you can use the A or B button, but I recommend you to press the B button because, as far as I know, it's easier to match the rhythm on Switch when you go to the Y button right after you hit the B one, Release both of them and then start again with the B button. It's a bit like the inputs you need to perform a Yoshi flutter in the second Galaxy game, if you know it. Which timing exactly necessary for this trick is not known, but I promise you that you will become a feeling for the timing needed if you've practiced it enough. Let's get back to the run. This speedrun by CK has also showcased the fastest possible route to enter all of the domes. From terrace to fontaine, to bedroom, to garden, to engine room and to kitchen. This 129.69 world record showed the leaderboards that there is a new captivating category on the map of the extensions. Although Cloud Kirby's run was already more than acceptable. Over the next few months, nothing really happened there, which is, if you believe it or not, a normal thing for a new category extension. But it also led to a relatively long time that this 129 time stood unbeaten at the top position. To be exact, 170 days, or about 5.5 months, was it alone as the world record. Till CK wanted to put one more on it, and on the 30th of May 2020 he managed just that. With a stunning 1 minute and 27.15 seconds, he did it once again, setting a world record which should take a lot of effort to beat, like you know it from him in the main categories. In general, Cloud Kirby had much cleaner movement and improved some of the strats of the previous record run. On the way to Tarrace, he put on a much sharper angle, only needed one long jump into fontaine instead of two. Unfortunately bonked to the ceiling of the garden entrance, but had a better fast fly route, so that wouldn't lose much time. Performed the first ever frame perfect ground pound, to which I will come back later and explain it, and he kept his full long jump momentum on the bridge to kitchen. It could have been that the low 127 time by CK already seemed nearly unbeatable because of the clean movement and the frame perfect ground pound to engine room. Regardless is the fact, even without going for a possible 126 PB time, which CK stated after his EAD run that he does not know if he should do that, his second WR stood even longer than his first on the first place, which was 191 days or almost exactly 6 months. But if you listened to my explanation of the category, you should know there's also another side of things we should looking at, and I assure you it had its own direction. We come to a runner who is mostly known for other genres of video games, but had here his first Mario Galaxy speedrun and went going on to become one of the most important figures of the whole story. We are coming to 30 Aces, or just Aces, as I gonna call him. With a 1 minute and 36 seconds flat, which is not that good compared to CK, but is at the same time the first ever Enter All Domes run with Mario, so respect for completing that as the first. Overall in the run, Aces took other strats to complete it than CK. For the first half, he did basically the known. But after he went out bedroom, he waves the fast fly, and instead of going for a spin and ground pound, Aces does a targeted long jump to the engine room. These two variations were probably the reasons where and why Aces lost so much time over CK and presented an okay world record to the boards. Beside of that, this record lasted for only 2 months. Due to another speedrunner gave the idea of entering our domes a chance and bet Aces run by a good amount of time, and the runner's name's none other than Potts. On the 30th of May, the same day as Mr. Cloud Kirby's second world record run was verified, Potts put on his first record as Mario. Potts, originally known as Potts Dragon, is a speedrunner who has been running Mario Galaxy for many years and put on many very good PB times, but in relation with Ace's first run, this was stunning. Because with a time of 1 minute 31.505 seconds, Potts grinded almost 5 seconds of the previous record. About the run itself, there's not that much to say about it. Potts did the job much cleaner than Aces did, with a version of the fast fly which I can only describe as attempted, and also he does a frame perfect ground pound. I come back to that later. Otherwise, don't get me wrong, even if it was a cleaner run than Aces, it was far away from being perfect, because of slow movement here and there and readjustment of the triple jump and a bad angled camera jump there. Nevertheless, Potts' 1:31 time went on to stand a solid amount of 67 days as the current record. Potts' run was also the point where slowly a few more people got interested in the short but fun category, and the one who bet the 1:31 were once more a completely new runner to it. Wow, I guess that's common now for the Mario records. This is unfortunately the only time we analyze the record speedrun of this runner, because I have a feeling that he could have grinded the category to a sub 1:30 or even better. Despite of that, this here is the 1 minute 30.47 second world record of maybe the most talented Galaxy runner at EAD Mario yet, Shadow64. The little improvement of the time over Potts' run shows itself by being at Tarrace too far away from the entrance, which results in a few frames time loss and the wrong angled long jump here, which resulted into Shadow having to make a second long jump. The camera jump could be a copy of Potts' EAD run, and Shadow did not do a ground pound to get to engine room, although it's the fastest known strat to do here. But on this way to the Garden Dome, he would become the first runner who does, rightfully, a fast fly with Mario. And it's also the more cleaner double long jump at the end of Kitchen that secured him the faster time and the victory over Potts. Surprisingly, Shadow64's 1:30 WR time was all the way to the November of that year unbeaten, or to be more exact, 117 days. It took all the way to the November of 2020, but the first one who bet Shadow's record was also the first one who set a sub 1 minute 30 time in the Mario EAD category, because the good old Aces shot himself back into the WR scene with a wonderful time of 1 minute and 28.75 seconds, and caused that both of the Enter or Domes varieties were now at a time of under 1.5 minutes. That what Shadow and Potts failed to do did Aces here all the better. He managed to get a triple jump without readjusting, his camera jump were clean but with a bit too far long jump, he somehow got a perfect timed fast fly but with a too far protruding flight curve, and his long jump double jump combo here sealed the deal. And a quick side note, Aces did in this run the ground pound but no spin at all. And with such a record-breaking world record, a standing time of unbelievable 134 days, and his own words.
What do I have to do?
Okay, I just got the Enter All Domes Mario record. I beat him by 2 seconds. Get bopped!
We could say that we just entered the part of the history which I see as the Aces era, because a few months later Aces even sets one more world record with a stunning 1 minute 27.2 seconds on April 10th of 2021. He now has his third Mario EAD world record, which is the most times anyone in Enter or Domes has held a record across Mario and Luigi till this point. And here is how he achieved it. Aces knew exactly where the mistakes from his previous run were, and grinded them out, with a close but working angle at Tarrace, an even cleaner camera jump than before with a little difference. Aces did jump in a straight line across the overlook platform and adjusted the long jump angle midway to land perfectly into the entrance of bedroom. The fast fly had a very good curve and even better ending, because Aces did not land on the platform of garden but rather flew right into the entrance, which saved the most time over the old PB and got him a gold split. and a pretty much copied engine room and kitchen ended up in...
Finally, I did the thing. Oh my gosh. Oh man. Wow. I don't know why I'm making a big deal out of this. It's not that big of a deal. It's a category extension, but just the sheer amount of time I put into this.
This was it. This world record speedrun of Mario Enter or Domes was overall so clean that you could have thought that it's already dead and no one's ever going to beat it. You see, Aces stayed with the load 127 for longer on the top than every other runner ever did. With breathtaking 271 days or 9 months, Aces had become one of the, if not the most dominant record holder in the Enter or Domes history. But before we are going on further here, we have to take a look back at the Luigi's side of runs. And for that, we have to go a little bit back in time. On December 6, 2020, after he lost his record with Mario, Potts decided to also run with Luigi and came back with probably the smallest ever new record. With a time of 1 minute and 27.1 seconds, Potts ended the reign of CK and batted the WR by 0.05 seconds. He surprisingly didn't go around the outside of the pillar before Tarrace, but rather around the inside, which would make it the second time someone changed a strat in this run. Besides that, the Welsh runner went into bedroom instead of long jumping, did not quite hit the garden entrance, and failed the spin and ground pound by doing a homing ground pound. Looking back to this run, I think it was a bit lucky for Potts to beat Cloud Kirby's WR, especially because of the not optimal and slower strats he went for. Nevertheless, the 127.1 was, beside of Ace's third Mario record, the longest held record with another astonishing 8.5 months or 255 days in total. Did you remember what I said earlier about Ace's runs? Well, Potts held the Luigi record for a very long time, which was a thorn in the eyes of Aces, who wanted to be the top name in this category. So the dominant world record contender of Mario EAD made himself ready to grind to get a record he never got before, and after a while, in a multiple hour-long session, this happened. By using pretty much the same strats and routes with Luigi, except of a few little differences because of the jump physics Luigi has, Aces did the unthinkable and became, with a 1 minute and 26.61 seconds PB, the first runner who holds the Mario and the Luigi Enter or Domes world record at the same time. 30 Aces grinded this stuff for so long that he outplayed everyone else and got himself to a point where not only his first Luigi record stood for 144 days or more than 4.5 months, but rather where everyone thought that Aces were the GOAT of Enter or Domes, and it looked like the EAD category was coming to a long-term close. Till someone who just discovered the category extension denied to give that title to Aces and took a shot, which would become a takeover. Freshly on the new year 2022, on the January 5th and 6th, a new Galaxy speedrunner named Lou Warrior broke both very good records and ended the extremely dominant era of Aces. As fast as lightning, Lou Warrior ran both character the even better 1:26 time. He started with Mario, where he basically put on cleaner movement, a much tighter flight curve and a very tight ground pound to engine room. But on his way to kitchen, he misangled the first long jump and couldn't manage to fly straight into the garden entrance. On the other side with Luigi, Lou got also the tighter angle with the flight curve and saved time by not doing the double jump that Aces was known for doing. Instead, he made a second long jump, because of which he was able to ledge grab Luigi onto the kitchen platform. Sadly, Lou Warrior had to readjust the triple jump and had to land in front of Garden. And here you have it. Although there are still some points where you can save time, these WR times came so fast and were so good that they have runner more deterred than ever to try the Enter or Domes runs. And so both records of Lou both held for around about half a year. The Mario one over 173 days and the Luigi one over 217 days, and there was nothing really happening anymore. But on one fateful day, a mostly unknown SMG1 and 2 speedrunner, who was most likely known for his individual level runs, took notice of this competition and should eventually become the one with the most verified PBs and the one who reanimated the fight for the records. And from the moment this runner's momentum took off, everyone who followed the development of the EAD should have instantly known that this was different. All red record holders we analyzed so far have only had their runs verified when they broke the current record. But this runner's first run was a 1 minute 40 seconds run. From then he verified run after run after run and has worked his way up to the top, where Lou Warrior sat chilling on the EAD throne. His fourth run, 129, 4th place. His fifth run, 128, 3rd place. His 8th run, 126.79, 2nd place. His 9th run, on June 26, 2022, with an unbelievable time of 125.9. The first ever 125. The newcomer MeTube claimed his first Mario Enter or Domes world record and threw Lou Warrior back to the 2nd place. MeTube set a new record just by optimizing the strats Lou also did. He went for a very close pillar entrance angle at the Tarrace, set himself, probably intended, up to the triple jump, somehow managed to get a perfectly looking camera jump with a perfectly timed long jump into the bedroom, did an even tighter flight curve with the landing on the garden platform, and where Lou lost time with a second long jump, MeTube used the full possible momentum and saved it with a ledge grab. Even though, or especially this run was the first new world record after Lou Warrior took over, MeTube's record were on top for 103 days. And as weren't that enough, it was around this time period in which another new, mostly unknown speedrunner came around and wanted also a piece of the now more lucrative category extension. This rivalry has just begun. Because on August 10th, the new runner Lone Lexi uploaded on her YouTube channel an EAD run which stated a world record time with Luigi of 1 minute and 25.41 seconds. This world record bet Lou Warrior's 126 time by 0.74 seconds. How Lone Lexi did it? Here's the answer. First of all, Lone Lexi is the first runner who is running EAD with 2-player, which means with 3 Joy-Cons, because she is, like Lou and MeTube, playing on the Switch version of SMG1. In the new record run, Lone Lexi invents a couple new strats. She didn't do the triple jump to the fountain, instead she did a 2P jump, which is known to make actually impossible jumps in Galaxy possible. In addition, she did not go for the flight curve after collecting the red star power-up. Lexi breaks the glass surrounding the red star, then jumps, shakes again in the air, takes while the spinning animation the power-up, and then holds down to place Luigi as close as possible to the edge of the bedroom ceiling, only to then performing the fast fly and saving a second over every other run to now. The only thing that stands out in a negatively way, besides the landing on the garden platform, is the not fully used momentum on the kitchen bridge. Apparently, a few days later, MeTube uploaded a video on his YouTube channel as well, where he basically said that Lexi had beaten some of his PBs, stolen the Luigi EAD record right in front of him, and that he would take this as a challenge, whereupon Lexi should fire her best shot. Under the same video, she commented later that she would be all down for a friendly competition. Let's come to the probably most compelling and most complicated part of the whole story. Because only 25 days after Lone Lexi's first WR, MeTube got his first Luigi EAD record with a very strong time of 1 minute and 24.55 seconds, which is the first ever sub 125 EAD time. According to the timer of the run, this record were done after a nearly 3 hour and 20 minutes long grind. And according to MeTube himself, this was maybe the greatest EAD run yet. Whether the 124 time is really so good, let's see. In every case, I have to say, this EAD speedrun was mostly clean. MeTube got a good Tarrace entry angle and perfectly grinded out Fontaine triple jump with short shake at the end, a clean camera jump, getting the faster red star collecting strat, flew right into the garden entrance and kept the full momentum on the bridge to kitchen. Either way, he needed a second attempt to perform the backflip on top of bedroom, and the last long jump to the bedroom entrance were a bit too long. But all in all, this is a more than solid PB, which could stand for a while on top, because it's the first 124 time, right? Right? Well, this was probably the thought of MeTube, but who would have expected that Lone Lexi weren't finished with the Luigi EAD category on that day? And on the same day, September 4th, 2022, Lone Lexi bet the freshly set record by MeTube with a heavy-hitting 1 minute and 23.9 seconds, only 7 hours after MeTube's WR got uploaded. 7 hours. Yes, you heard it right. On the same day, the Luigi Enter or DOMES category world record went from a mid 125 to a mid 124 to a mid 123 time. Wow. Lexi randomly wanted to stream a grind session of the category and got the truly breathtaking first ever 124 record time in her second try. Beside of the fact that this was very likely a bit lucky, we'll analyze of course the run. And what you can instantly see is that she's going for the old method to get into Tarrace, the way around the pillars on the outside. Of course, the 2P jump, going a bit old school by changing the long jump angle right after the overlook platform, doing a clean but a bit slowly at the beginning garden entry, and she's doing the earlier teased frame perfect ground pound, which brought her in connection with some of the other new and kinda old strats, the 23 time. The thing about the so-called FPGP is, if you press in a long jump animation, the spin and ground pound button frame perfectly at the same time. Luigi or Mario will skip the spin animation and go directly into a ground pound, which saves around a second if you hit the right spot before the engine room entrance. Remember when I said this is the most complicated part? I explain it to you. Both of the record runs were run on the same day. Both of these record runs were submitted on the same day. And both of these record runs were verified on the same day. And simultaneously verified runs have here the disadvantage that the worst one of these speedruns will not be recognized as an official world record. So this makes MeTube's 124.55 record time to something in between run, like a not acknowledged world record run that is actually a full-blown WR. And that means that MeTube isn't the one to blame for that. He couldn't do something about it. It was the pure coincidence that Lexi got so lucky and also got a WR on that day. But how is it now going on? How is MeTube reacting to it? Does Lone Lexi now go for the Mario EAD record? Questions over questions, but I can say that multiple runners continued to grind, and on the September 14th, the 23.9 time got beaten. Not by CK, not by Aces, not by Lou Warrior, not by Lexi herself. There were only one able to do that. It happened. Finally, after multiple sessions of grinding, after a claimed stolen world record and a not acknowledged record due to a coincidence, MeTube finally got the world record he worked for. With an incredible 1 minute and 23.4 seconds, the Enter or Dome speedrunner MeTube took his deserved place at the top of the category extension and now held both of the WRs at the same time. And to be honest, this run might had it all. It finally combined everything and every strat we have seen so far. He did the close inside of pillar angle, the triple jump with the short spin height, the badass clean fast fly into garden entrance, the frame perfect ground pound to engine room, and the full momentum at the bridge. The only thing where MeTube could have lost a little bit of time were on the delayed long jump right here. And you could tell that the achievement of holding both EAD world records at the same time means more to him than it seems. In his uploaded run on YouTube, there was a timer which stated a grind time of almost 5 hours. In the description, he told the whole story since he began to run Enter or Domes out of his side, and says that achieving it means a lot to him and that he wants to show if you carry on with something you want to reach and don't stop, the moment will come where you are achieving it. And on top of that, this 1:23.4 world record time and the message beside of it is the current Luigi EAD world record with, at the moment of the recording of the video, plus 80 days. But if you think that we are finished here, you thought a bit too fast, because there's another piece of history at the Mario side of things we have to go through, and we obviously didn't get to the current Mario record right now. So, about a month after MeTube claimed both EAD records and secured himself a place into the very short list of runners who held all of the stuff there is to go for in this category, a known name managed to break the 1:25.9 time of MeTube with a bit better time of 1:25.53. Lou Warrior came back and reclaimed the record which he called his own. And I can understand if you are thinking right now that an even better 1:25 record time could be nearly unbeatable just because of the high skill level we reached so far. But let me tell you, even if the Luigi world record looks very strong, it does not have to count for the Mario record as well. In this category is still some time to save, and Lou was very aware of that. He knew what he is doing, and although the biggest part of his second world record run was clean, he left a lot of time lying here and there. Like this weird zigzag strat with the long jumps. I guess there went something wrong when Lou pressed the inputs and somehow managed to save the EAD run with, well, this. Also, he still stuck with the older fast fly method and somehow didn't get the straight garden entrance either. As weren't that enough, there were also no frame perfect ground pound in this record. Looking back at it, I think, on a pure performancing level, this is one of the worst setup WRs. But on the other side, Lou didn't really have to put out the harder strats to beat MeTube's run, because it showed again that there is a lot of time left to save in this variation. And barely after that was clear, 16 days later, MeTube came again with a great speedrun around the corner and didn't want to give up his spot at the top. On October 23rd, 2022, MeTube did upload his newest Enter or Dome speedrun to his YouTube channel, with not only the run, but also with a clear message. In the 4-minute video, he described the viewers what happened in the last days on the leaderboards and sent a message that he would have the crown of the category now, would be the king of EAD as long as he want to be it, and that the Mario record is his now, with which he's referencing the statement of Lou Warrior, who said this in the last WR. With a second time now holding the top spot of the Mario leaderboard, we look into what MeTube had done. The first third is not the topic, he did that flawlessly. MeTube also got a bit of the zigzag strat, but let it look more straighter and put a perfectly timed long jump into bedroom again. He copied the bedroom garden transition from his Luigi run and finished the run as known. And also without frame perfect ground pound. 1 minute and 25.39 seconds is a record time which included grinding out the mistakes which the WR before did, but not had all of the fastest methods, so Mario is not exactly on the same level of clutchness as the Luigi side of things. Apparently, MeTube were also aware of that, because only 72 hours after he set to beat Lu's second world record, he continued to become maybe one of the most important figures of the EAD. If you retime this EAD run, you would have become a time of 1 minute and 24.9 seconds, and would have the first ever Mario 124 time. But here's the deal. MeTube retimed his announced second PB at this 124.9, and the moderators of the category extension made it to the official WR time of 1 minute and 25 seconds flat. Why? Probably because they had found something that MeTube had overseen in his retime. And so the before mostly unknown speedrunner made himself by working for every single world record far more than every other runner did, to maybe the most successful WR holder by taking the Mario record for a third time. This is the run we waited for. It's not that clean like the Luigi record because of a simple mistake right here before the kitchen bridge, but it has all of the fast strats we talked about and analyzed in this video. Sharp angle, check. Time triple jump, check. Straight long jumps, check. Fast fly, check. Straight gun entry, check. Frame perfect ground pound, check. And because it's the current Mario WR with a holding time of plus 38 days, I thought about to show you the full run, but that would have been a bit too much, wouldn't it? So here we are, MeTube as the current world record holder of both Enter or DOMES categories, and maybe as the one who put the most hotness and intrigue into it. If you are willing to look a bit deeper than just at the speedrun times of 1:23.4 for Luigi and 1:25 flat for Mario. We went from a random meme idea which did not have many good reasons to be a long-term category, to a competition which involved multiple speedrunners who wanted and want to prove something towards themselves and towards the speedrunning community in general. They wanted and wants to show that they have potential to reach something, to build onto their skill, and saw the possibility of the extensions to be a starting point to build up their confidence and maybe going on to change things on the main leaderboards. Isn't that what speedrunning is all about? Isn't speedrunning more than just running the speed in a game? To me, speedrunning is also a philosophy which you can use to tell stories and to communicate why this category or this game is at the point where it is right now. To say why you are doing this, to say why you want to achieve this special new time, and to enjoy every great moment that happens when you break your PB or even the red record in a category, and celebrate it with people who are basically liking the same stuff you do. For showing this, having more fun categories than everywhere else, and making things like this story possible, I think we all shouldn't judge the extensions by just being the extensions, unusual and weird, and should give them, despite of that, at least a try. If you watched till this point, it means that you made it through this video, for which I'm very thankful. I just wanted to let you know that I made this video to show you people an example of what, unfortunately, doesn't get the attention it deserves in the speedrunning business. For me and some other speedrun enthusiasts, this category is one of the most fun and straightforward speedruns out there. And yes, I know that Enter or DOMES is a meme category, and the category extensions of Super Mario Galaxy will probably never be at a similar level of popularity as the main categories. But if I can bring even one person closer to this category extensions with this video, or even convince them to take these categories a little bit more serious for themselves and try here and there some runs, then all of this would have served its purpose. And with that, stay healthy, and hopefully we will hear each other again in another video. But then with German commentary, because I'm actually a German YouTube channel. But for this particular reason, I made an exception. And before I forget this, I usually don't do this so explicitly, but do you see this little button right next to my channel name, where the word subscribe is written on it? If you enjoyed this video, you can, beside of giving it a like, click on that button to support me and especially the channel, so you can get more videos like this in the future. On the screen right now are some other videos I made if you wanna check them out, and in the middle you can get to my channel page. Thank you very much for watching.